The Rocket Leaders are out. We have brand new Shiny Shadow Leader Pokemon, which is fantastic, and a really powerful one in there as well, and a beautiful looking shiny. And not only that, we have brand new Grunts that have Rocket lineups, and I'm going to tell you guys which exactly ones to hunt after to get these brand new, very strong Rocket Pokemon and get you some new Shiny Shadow Grunts in Pokemon Go, and even Shadow Regigigas. So welcome to the Trainer Club. Here we go. Let's start it off with the brand new Shadow Pokemon. We are going to have Ghastly, we're going to have Rhyhorn, we are going to have Barboach, we are going to have Cranidos and Shieldon, and then finally we are going to have Dribbler as well as Chandelure. And as far as the Rocket Leader Pokemon, we have a brand new Shiny Shadow Dratini, we're going to have Shiny Sableye, and we are going to have Shiny Bellsprout. And it's going to go, Cliff is going to have the Dratini, so that's going to be the one to hunt after. We do have the Arlo with the Bellsprout, and then finally we have Sierra with the Sableye. Okay, so that's everything you need to know, but we need to know exactly how to get there and what are going to be the leader lineups that we're looking to focus on. So we're just going to cover a couple other ones as well. So for the Go, just my bug Pokemon is going to have a Shiny Shadow potential for the Pineco. So I am going to recommend that you guys do that Pokemon leader every single time that you see it. And Roar, how does that sound? Typically has been Dratini as well as the Gibble, but I'm thinking that maybe they might change that one up a little bit because I don't know if this is going to hold true right now, just based on this being a brand new leader Pokemon, but typically speaking, that if the Shiny Shadow is out, the Grunt will have it now. But I don't know if this will maintain the case, but remember that Gibble does come from this, so that's a win there. Even if we're not able to get the Dratini, and I just think that they're going to pull that Dratini and just leave it as Arlo's Pokemon here. But do you know Pokemon that are going to breathe hot fire is going to be the Chandelure potential encounter as well as the Vulpix and the Numel. Just a reminder, something easy to run through here is either a rock, a ground, or even a water Pokemon. I typically use my Kyogre just because it's so beefy and bulky and it just destroys, especially when you go with Numel and Camera Up, where it's going to be a ground and a fire type combination, is double weak to water, and Kyogre with Waterfall, Origin Pulse absolutely destroys. And for the Chandelure, unfortunately for the Great League, it's in the 600s. It's stronger with the non-shadow, but not irrelevant at all. In the Ultra League, it's ranked 456, but still not relevant. And then in the Master League, it's going to be in the 200s for both the shadow and the non-shadow. So unfortunately, this Pokemon is a little bit more geared towards that meta attacker list. And guys, if you do want to check out the meta attacker list, you can check it out up here. This is going to be where we cover all these Pokemon as far as how strong they are. In this video, we're covering the lineups as well as GBL. And then we have the Kiki, the Ghost-type Pokemon, which is now going to have the Ghastly integration here. Typically, when I'm going after this, using something like a Darkrai, or you can even use something like a Xerneas, a Fairy type, or even a Gardevoir, something that's going to be Fairy, Dark, or Ghost. The reason why I don't always use Ghost Pokemon, even though Giratina Origin Form is very good, is that they are also weak to Ghost Pokemon, so using a Dark-type Pokemon does help you get around this. That's why Darkrai is a great one for this, and even Tyranitar would work well too. In the Great League, actually the Haunter is ranked a little bit better at 156, but it's still really far up there. Gengar is unfortunately not well ranked, but in the Ultra League, the Gengar in the Shadow is actually ranked 57 with Shadow Claw. Remember, it's going to need Shadow Punch, which is going to be the Calm Day move, and then Shadow Ball. It's the all Ghost type variation there. Typically what I suggest using, unless you really want to spam this move fast, what you can do is you can charge all the way up to Shadow Ball, and then if you want to use Shadow Punch, you throw the Shadow Punch then, because then if it's a better player, they'll time up how many quick attacks. So all you do is watch until your Shadow Ball gets charged fully with the circle, and then throw the Shadow Punch as a potential way to trick out on your opponent. And in the Master League, the Shadow is ranked 98 in comparison to the 162 of the non-Shadow, which is very impressive. And you're going to be frozen in your tracks. I just want to remind you guys that this one does have Swinub, and Swinub is a very powerful Pokemon. And just a reminder, Swinub is also a ground-type Pokemon, so you can catch it in the sunny weather for a weather boost. And normal does not mean weak, can be a shiny potential for the Meowth, as well as coiled and ready to strike can be a shiny Grimer. Let's Rock and Roll is going to be a ground type. This one will feature the Cranidos, and I have not seen any reports of where Shieldon will be featured, but I would believe that it would be featured in here as well. And unfortunately for that Rampardos, 358 as a Shadow in the Master League, best ranked, or 404 in the non-Shadow, so this Pokemon is not very relevant here. And then another Grunt, winning is going to be for winners. If it is going to be the female Grunt, it is going to have the Snorlax. If it's going to be the male Grunt, it could be one of the starter Pokemon, which all can be shiny here. And then these Waters Are Treacherous can have three things: Psyduck Shadow, it can have Shelder Shadow. Remember, Sheldo is the Stardust boosted Pokemon, but most importantly, it can have that Barboach. And actually, as the Wishcast, it's ranked 15 in the Great League, which is extremely impressive with Mudshot, Mud Bomb, and Blizzard. And the 100% IV here will be a 0, 14, 13 in the Great League. And then you'll be defeated into the ground could be either a Wooper or, most importantly, the Excadrill. And just a reminder, actually, the Quagsire is going to be ranked 24 in the Great League with Mudshot, Mud Bomb, and Stone Edge, and the IVs are going to be a 0, 15, 14. Man, there's a lot of great information packed in this this video. So if you are liking this, make sure to drop in the comments below which of the new Shadow Pokemon you do like the most, and make sure to share this video for anybody out there that needs help hunting some better quality Pokemon. And in the Ultra League, the Excadrill is going to be in the 110s, but in the Master League, it's going to be ranked 60 actually, with Mudshot, Drill Run, as well as Rock Slide. And that's going to be 100% IVs, all 15s there for the Master League. And then as far as the Rhyperior, I also am not seeing reports on any of these, so I would say that it could be either in the Rock type or also in the Ground type, because that's a Rock and a Ground type Pokemon, so I do believe that it will show up in either of those situations. Okay, so this Pokemon, great in Ultra League, not really super relevant, but for the Master League, 44 in the non-Shadow and 72 in the Shadow with Mud Slap, Breaking Swipe, as well as Rock Wrecker. And I'm actually really surprised here because Mud Slap is a harder hitting move, but it does make it a little bit more glassy, and since it is double weak to water, I understand why it doesn't rank better there, because there's a decent amount of water Pokemon that do show up in the Master League. Okay, so that's going to be all those Pokemon right there. I pretty much have you guys covered. If you did check out that video or if you haven't, check in the pinned comments below, because that video is very, very helpful to know which of these Pokemon are now budget but very strong versions of themselves, including that Rhyperior. I love the Rhyperior. So with that said, now let's get into the final parts. We have the leaders and we have Giovanni. So as far as the leaders, we have Arlo that does have the Shadow Bellsprout. Then in the second spot, it could be Alakazam. We could look at Miss Magius, or we could also look at Sharpedo. So Sharpedo is going to be extremely vulnerable to fighting. Same with Alakazam here. I still am probably going to be going in with, more than likely, Lucario. I just love the Lucario. Another one that you can go in here with that I think would be super helpful is going to be the Thundershock and Rock Slide on that Melmetal, just to waste those shields right off the bat here. And just a reminder, we do have Snorlax in there. You can get Magnezone, but most of the time you're going to get Scissor, and that one is going to be double weak to fire. So throwing in a Lucario, a Reshiram, and then using a Darkrai with double dark moves and Focus Blast would actually serve really well here. And then we're going to have Sableye coming in with Sierra. Okay, so Sableye is a little bit more of a challenging Pokemon. What you could do is start off with the Melmetal, get one attack, switch over into the Lucario there. Then we have the Muck, we have the Skarmory, and then we have the Gardevoir. Gardevoir will show up more than likely if you do have the Shadow Ball along with that Lucario. You can, if it's powered up, just hit that Pokemon out pretty fast. And then also, if that's not the case, the Melmetal going backwards will allow you to get those Rock Slides off pretty fast for both of these Pokemon here, but do watch out for some ground coming from that Muck. And if you do get lucky, the Pokemon over here are going to be Gyarados. We can get Kingdra, but more than likely you're going to be getting that Houndoom, and Houndoom will also be very weak to that Lucario powered up punch with counter and power up punch. So that's going to be my recommendation for teams. So I would go in with the Melmetal, I would go with the Lucario, big surprises here. And then another one, you can go in there with some Electric Dragon combination for the Zekrom here. And then the final team, my favorite team of all, is going to be the Cliff here. So I'm going in once again with Melmetal and Lucario. Reason being is I don't really want these Pokemon to get hit very fast, and since they are going to be Steel typing that is going to resist Dragon type, it's going to work well for us. In the second spot, we can have Slowking, we can have Gallade, and we can have the Credilli. Okay, so in this spot here, I like having a Mewtwo in there with Psystrike and Shadow Ball coming in here. Shadow Ball will pretty much get hit really hard. Even though Gallade is going to be pretty neutral to the Shadow Ball, it's still going to get hit pretty hard here in the Shadow form. And then finally, we are going to have the Tyranitar with the Lucario powered up punch. Will handle that thing very good. But also we are going to have Mamoswine and then Dusk Noir in there. Mamoswine can get handled by this here, but if we go in with Melmetal, and then we also have the Lucario followed up with that Shadow Ball Mewtwo right there, that will do pretty good, except for the Tyranitar. Obviously you will die out there, but most importantly, you will have that Shadow Ball coming in for the Dusk Noir. You can hit these Mamoswine really hard with that Shadow Ball. And then finally, if you need to switch out, you can go back right into that Lucario or that Melmetal with the Power Up Punch and the Rock Slide and take them out, which then leads us into the Giovanni. So Giovanni is going to be a little bit unique here. So the number one Pokemon, as always for Giovanni, is going to be the Persian. And so the Persian, even if it is resisted, is going to be extremely strong. So what I suggest doing here is going in with a Melmetal, maybe charging up to the first move once again, switching over into Lucario, doing up the Power Up Punch, and getting some attack, breaking all the shields on this Pokemon, and then being ready. Then we can either have the Nidoking, we can have the Kingler, and we can have the Garchomp. Right in here, you guys are going to have to kind of be ready for whatever could happen, but a Dragonite in here would do extremely well with Dragon Breath, Dragon Claw, and Super Power on this one to come back on the back end to be able to go ahead and hit out that Regigigas pretty fast. But I would suggest before throwing a Super Punch, having two of them fully charged up, but that Dragonite, along with both of those other Melmetal, as well as Lucario, would serve you guys very well. So if you guys do choose anything else besides these Pokemon, please drop in the comments and be like, hey, this one works way better. That's just how I run it. I love the really fastness. I love the ability to waste shields, and I love the ability to go and move through most of these Pokemon, especially that Lucario and that Melmetal are very, very big assets to your team, and then to take it down. And just a reminder, the 100% Regigigas is going to be $9.79 in normal conditions, or weather boosted in partly cloudy weather, all the way till $16.14 for the 100% IV. So good luck out there, everybody. Shadow Pokemon are the bomb right now, and they are going to stay in the game, so make sure to hunt these Pokemon. Good luck, everybody. Thank you to all my likers, comments, subscribers, Patreon members. Everybody take your support, subscribe to the page, to you guys out in the next video. Peace. I want to take this time to thank everybody who supports me in every facet. It means the world to me, and an extra special thank you to all my Patreons. I greatly appreciate the extra support to continue to allow me to pursue Pokemon Go full time, allowing me to create my daily video uploads in the most timely fashion for everyone's benefit. Plus, I get the amazing experience of sharing my creative processes behind the scenes and raiding all around the globe with select upper tiers. Thank you everybody for being a part of the Trainer Club. You all mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you guys out on the next video.